All right, Anthony, this is like the fifth time I've tried to make a video. I keep making mistakes. So hopefully this will be the last time. Even if not, I don't have any time to make another one. So this will be the last one for tonight. So I'm going to model first this ring, which is going to house the bearing. This is the easy part. So I'm going to start modeling some 3D objects off to the side, just so that we're not confused and that you can retain all this two-dimensional stuff. So I'm going to just model this, which is going to be the inside circle is going to be 11.5. So that means from side to side, it's a diameter of 23. Then I'm going to make one that is a radius of 15, which is the same measurement that you have here. Now, I don't need the center part, so I'm going to select that surface and then press delete on my keyboard. Then I'm going to push-pull this up. This will be my first three-dimensional object. And the thickness of the bearing is 7 millimeters, so I'm going to type 7, enter. So here's our first 3D object. And this looks like it should be a solid, and it looks like a solid, but it actually isn't. That's why I have this entity info open, which is found right here. So you just click on here, and if I select something, it will tell me what it is. So I'm going to select this part right here. So there's 49 entities there, a bunch of line segments, and a face. So let me try to just select the face. There we go. So I have just the face selected. Now I'm going to try to select this. That's a surface. And this is just a circle. So none of this is a solid yet. So as long as all of these surfaces and lines are touching each other, then it can become a solid if I make it a group or a component. So I'm going to just select everything here, all the faces, right click, and I can make it a group or a component. I'm just going to make it a group because that's faster. So now I have a solid group. Now this could be printed. It is actually a solid. So our goal in this is to make all of these things solids. Everything that you've modeled in 2 dimensions, we're going to make solid objects. So what I've been having the most problem with is the bat here. And I'm not sure when you drew it if it was on, like any of these lines are parallel with one of the main axes. So that has been causing me some problems. So my first thing I'm going to do, the other problem I've had is it's too small for Sketchup to do some of the 3D modeling that you want to do. So I'm going to copy it over first. I have it selected. It's hard to see because it's blue, but I'm just going to click on that face. You can see that's a face. And then I'm going to use the move tool. But I'm going to press Control to copy. So I'm going to grab it and move it over just somewhere off to the side. So the other problem that I just mentioned is it's too small. So the first thing I'm going to do before I try to do anything is I'm going to scale it up. So I'm just going to select it, use the scale tool. I'm going to grab one of the corners so I have a uniform scale. So the height and the width are both being scaled. I'm going to scale it up by a factor of 10. So now it'll be easier to see some of the lines and things that I'm doing, and it also will make 3D modeling successful. All right, so now I want to just see, I'm just doing some experiment here to see if any of these lines are straight with one of the axes. So I'm going to click here. I don't know why it's referencing so many things. Just want that endpoint. Okay, so if this is lined up, it should be on the red axis. It looks like it is. Okay, so I'm going to check another line real quick. Let's check this line here. Click on the endpoint. Try to follow along the red axis here. And I'm going to zoom in real close to make sure it's not overlapping anywhere. So it looks like you use the red axis to make some of these straight lines, which is a good thing. So I think I can use this. The way that it is. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to try something here and see if it works. Get rid of this line. So what I want to try to do is use the Follow Me tool to basically rotate half of a bat, 2-dimension, around a circle that is perpendicular to make a bat shape. So I need to make a circle, and I need it to be perpendicular. So I've already done this a few times. I know I need to be on the red axis. So I can try to orbit, Maggie, stop, to get on the red axis. So if I'm more like this, you can see now I'm on the red axis. Another way to do that is by using your arrow keys. So the right arrow forces you to draw only on that axis. So now I want to reference this. This is an arc midpoint, so I don't like that. First thing I'm going to do is draw a straight line across. Just going to pick a random point here. I'm going to try to retain as much as I can. So I want to on the edge and along the green axis to the other side. I'm just going to get rid of this leftover stuff. I want a straight line at the bottom. And then I'm going to draw another line from the midpoint of this line along the red axis all the way to the top. And then I'm going to delete half of the bat because I only need half, because the other side is just a mirror image of that half. This will all hopefully make sense in a moment. Okay, so there I have half of my bat. Now I'm going to do that circle thing that I was just talking about. I want to draw it on the red axis. I'm going to click on here and then draw it out to the edge here. It really doesn't matter because it's just going to revolve it around a circular pattern. But I'm going to go ahead and use that as a reference point. So now I have a circle that's perpendicular to my bat half. So now I'm going to use the Follow Me tool here. Select this surface, this face, and then follow me along the edge here back to the beginning. Now I have a bat shape which looks like it's a solid. Let's see on the end here if we got rid of that circle. For some reason that's blue. So yeah, the interior there, for some reason this circle disappeared. So this is an instance where it looks like it's like an enclosed shape, but it's missing a surface on the end. So I need to close that in somehow before I can make it a solid. So I need to draw another circle. Hopefully this will work if I can make it. Actually, a lot of times if you just draw a line across an opening, it will fill it in with a surface. So let's try that. Let's go ahead and click here and somewhere across the other side. There we go. So it filled itself in. I'm going to get rid of that line. It's just one of the quirks with Sketchup that I've learned over time. So the next real key thing is, can we make this a solid? I'm going to select these things and see what we have. So these are all surfaces here. I have surface on the end. It's a face. Same thing. So a face is flat. A surface is contoured. So a face is a flat plane, and a surface is not. So let's go ahead and select everything for this bat, and then make a group. See what happens. It is a solid group. So we have success, finally. It's a good day. So now I'm going to scale this back down to size. So I could use the scale tool. Grab one of the corners so I scale uniformly. And then I want to do 0.1 because that's 1/10 of what it is now. 0.1. Enter. This should be down to scale, to similar to what you drew it as. The only difference being I shaved a little bit off the end, which is no problem because this is a face, I could use the push-pull tool and pull this out again if I needed to. Actually, it's a component, so I have to double-click to get inside first. Then I can use this push-pull and pull this out however far I want to. And I'm actually going to add a little bit onto the end here because I shaved a little bit off before. So I'm thinking maybe I'll add maybe 2 millimeters back onto it. So here's our solid bat. I'm going to draw a line in here just as a reference point. Try to find the center if I can. Doesn't often like to find the center. So if it's not going to work that way, I'm going to go ahead and just click on the edge and then draw towards the center until it gives me a center point. This can sometimes take a while. Maybe because I'm looking at it at the wrong angle. Let's look at it from the top. Nope. Let me escape out of there. The other thing you can do is crisscross. Hopefully that'll be close to the center. Looks like it is. All right, so I'm going to use that to snap it onto our shape over here that we already have. So I'm going to click outside of this and try to place our first bat in position. So before I can do that, I need to make a guideline on here. So I'm going to use the line tool. And I'm going to try to find the center line in the middle here. There it is. I'm drawing along the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and orbit to see the underneath. I'm going to draw straight over on the red axis, over to the outer edge. Click there. Then I'm going to draw a line straight up from there. So on the blue axis to the end point in that, on that edge there. So the reason I'm doing that is because now I have a midpoint that I can snap to. So now what I'm going to do is select my bat. And then I'm going to use the move tool. Actually, I'm going to copy this instead of move it because I have that one. Let's go ahead and copy this over. So I'm going to click Control. And this is where I'm going to grab it from the center part that I just made. Crisscross here. Click right there to grab it. And then I'm going to move it over to my ring here if I can ever find it. To the midpoint here. All right, so I have my first bat in place. Now I'm going to zoom in just to show you something that is going to be an issue. If I zoom in, you can see there's a gap. It's because I have a flat surface that's sitting on a curved surface. So yes, these could be joined together, but the only place that they would be touching would be right here, a very small part. So what I want to do is move this bat into the circle ring just ever so slightly. It's not going to take very much to move it in to get rid of that gap. So I'm going to use the move tool and grab it anywhere. Make sure that I'm along the red axis. And it looks like if I just move it in even 1 millimeter, it's going to get rid of that gap. So I'm going to do, let's just do 0.5, 1/2 of a millimeter, 0.5, enter. So now I've moved it inside just ever so slightly to get rid of that gap. So now we have the beginnings of a three-dimensional solid object. We got the ring, we got the bat. So the next thing that we need is a ball. So I'm going to use your surfaces and move them over. So let's see, we got a lot of surfaces here. One thing that we haven't talked very much about in class is the different ways that you can select items using a window. So if I draw a window from the upper right to the lower left, that is an intersect window. So anything that intersects that will be selected. So anything that was touching, that selection window will be selected. The other way to draw a selection window is one where only things that are entirely encompassed will be selected. So I'm going to click. So only these things were entirely inside. These other lines were partially outside. So the only thing that was selected is that portion right there. So making a box this way is intersect. Making a box this way is anything inside the box will be selected. But it has to be entirely inside the box or it won't work. So I'm going to use that method of selecting to select all of this basketball here. Now that it's selected, I can copy it by using the move tool, but press Control and then click anywhere to grab all of that. And I'm just going to move it over to the side again, over here. So I'm missing a surface. So let me go ahead and click Escape, and I'll add that surface. Let's go ahead and draw another selection window, this time making sure I get that surface in there. All right, now I'm going to use the move tool in copy mode. Click, and then we're going to drag it over here. Place it anywhere. All right, so now I'm going to get rid of anything that I don't need. Obviously, I copied a little too much over. So here I'm going to go with the erase tool, get rid of some of these lines. All right, so to model this basketball as a sphere, like a real ball would just be a nightmare, because these lines would be, spherical as well, and that would be pretty much impossible. So I think we've done quite a bit of difficulty already. So we're just going to model this as a two-dimensional shape, just push-pulled up. So to get the definition that we'll need when this is printed, the lines, the black parts, are going to be push-pulled less than the rest of the ball. So there's like an indentation of a shape there. So we're going to go ahead and use push-pull. And we're going to click let's do the outer shapes first. No, let's do the inner shapes first. So the black stuff. And let's say a thickness. Good thickness would be probably, let's do 1 millimeter. Yep, let's do 1. Enter. So now I'm going to push pull everything else up to match that. All right, so now we have our stripes that have been push pulled up. And we want the rest of the basketball, the orange parts, to be push pulled up farther than that. So let's go. So we did 1, so we're going to do 2 on these. I'm going to go up past that if I can, and it's not letting me. So it won't allow you to go past that. Let me try a little trick here. If I press the control key, it's going to make a new surface. That'll work. So it's leaving the surface on the bottom. So these other ones did not leave a surface on the bottom. So that's very important to note. So we're going to have to go back and redo this. So instead of copying the bottom surface and moving it up, it's actually grabbing the surface and leaving a void at the bottom. So we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and do... Actually, let's go ahead and... Yeah, let's go ahead and redo it. It's just going to be easier that way. So pressing Control before you push pull will copy and leave the bottom in place. So it's going to have a surface on the bottom and a surface on the top. So I'm going to click there, and we're going up 1. So 1, enter. And it stays that way. So as long as you see that plus symbol, it means you're going to have a surface on the bottom and the top. I'm going to click there, go over there, go over there. Oh, I don't know if that had a surface on the bottom. Nope. Just be mindful of that. So press Control occasionally if that plus symbol disappears. Control. Control. Okay, so now I'm going to do the rest slightly taller. So these are going to go up 2. So make sure, yep. I need to make sure I press Control first. Then up 2, enter. I want these to match. Control, Control, Control. If this is too much of a difference, if you want a more subtle, so these are pretty deep ridges here. If you want a more subtle basketball, you could do 1.5 instead of 2. But you get the idea. Whoops. Need to press Control first. All right, so the surface is on the bottom and the top. Okay, before I do anything, I'm just going to make this hopefully a solid group. Selecting everything, right-click, and make a group. So it says it's just a group, so it's not a solid. So that is an issue. So I need to make sure that all of these have a surface on them. And the other thing I'm going to do is delete these lines to see if it stays a shape. Sometimes these lines can interfere with it being a solid. So I'm just going to get rid of anything that I don't need. All right. See, that did a bunch of weird stuff. So there's a lot of dependencies there. Let me undo all that stuff, and I may be cutting this video short if I can't figure this out. I'll let you know in class if I do, and you can just stop watching at this point. But I'm going to try to fix this if I can. And I can't undo anymore. There we go. Okay. Now we're back where we were. So I'm going to do this a different way and try to select. How did I do this before? I've done this before and it worked out. So let's try selecting everything and making a group. Computer might be slowing down as well, so this might be a good time to press save. Okay, it says it's saved. So I'm going to do this and press make a group. So that's a group. I'm going to explode the group. Then I'm going to make another group. And let's see what I can do here. Try to move this out of the way and see what happens. Nope, that didn't do anything. Let's go ahead and explode it again. And this may be the point where I give up and call it a night, and you can get this far and I can make another video to show you the rest.